All right, so looking at the first one, a box and whisker, it's the way to show the range of data amongst quartiles. What that means is you start with a minimum point, or the left dot is your minimum value, the right dot is your maximum. And then your next dot after that is going to be your first quartile. Then the one after that is going to be your second quartile, or the middle, or the median. And then the next one will be your third quartile. So everything in the box is Q1, Q2, Q3, and the 2 at the end is your minimum maximum. All right, so what is the median of A? 7. What's the median of B? You find the middle dot in the box, 7 as well. Which one has a lesser range? How do you find range? Maximum minus minimum. So max of A is 100. Minimum of A is 50. Subtract, you get 50. Of B, the same thing. Max is 100. Minimum is what? 40. You subtract and you get 60. So that's how you read a box and whisker. So the lesser value is A. Right. Which plot has the greater interquartile range? Well, remember, interquartile range is what? Q3 minus Q1. Remember, that's why I said you just have to know what these things mean. So what's Q3? Of A, Q3 is going to be the box, the dot at the end. And then Q1 is going to be the first dot of the box. Subtract the two numbers and you get 50. For B, Q3 at the end is 85. Q1, the one at the beginning of the box, is 60. You subtract that and you get 25. Now, which one is greater? Which number is bigger? B. What is the upper quarter? So they're asking what is Q3. I already found it, so I could just look at the example above, but I'll just do it again. Q3 is the right side of the box. And for B, the right side of the box, the dot on the right side of the box is 85. What is the lower extreme? Lower extreme, remember, is just your minimum values. And that's going to be your very first dot outside the box. So very first number, so 50. For B, it's all the way at the left, 40. What percent of data is between 60 and 85? Okay, so the way the data works is this. Each quartile is 25%. So the spacing between each thing is 25%. So when they ask you between 60 and 80, 60 and 80 is what? How many quarters do you have in there? You have quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3. So there are 2 sections. So that's what? 25 plus 25 is what? Alright. Greater than 80. So you find 80, which is there. And then how many quarters is that? The last quarter, which is only 25%. So the big thing is, you know, it's a section of each quarter. Another way to represent it is by stem and leaf plot, which is a way of displaying data values. What happens is you have your stem on the left, your leaf on the right. So if I wanted to see the number 82, for example, the first number would be my stem, 8, and then 2 would be the leaf. So that's how you read it. This is a listening check. Color in the 8 and the 2 circle. So it's how to read 82. So if I wanted to read this whole thing, 52, 54, 56, 56, 61, 65, 68, 72, 74, 74, 74, 75, 77, so forth. What's the highest score? Well, it's going to be 90, and then the last number, 96. Lowest, the first, 52. Which one it has more frequent? So you look at which one do you see the numbers repeating the most? Starting at the beginning, I see 2 56s, 74s, I see 3, and I see 283. So which one happens the most? 70. Which 10-point interval did most students score? So where do you see the most numbers? I see the most numbers in 7, right? You see that it has the most numbers. So between 70 and 79 was the most. How many scored at least 70? So you go to where 70 begins. So 72, 74, so forth. All those numbers down. So count them. How many total? 13. How many students received a score less than 70? So less than 70. How many scores are there? 7. Okay. Let's take a look at another example. This time looking at both. The same thing. That's the stems. Those are the leaves. 51, 52, 53, 54, 57, 59. Down here. 74, 78, 78, 80, 84, 89. And 6 has nothing there, so there's no numbers. What is the highest humidity? You go to the bottom, 80, and then the last number, 9. Even though it's on the left. The minimum is at the top, and the smallest number is 52. Does relative humidity tend to be high in the AM or PM? When is it higher? High is all the numbers at the bottom. So it's highest in the morning. So in the morning you have like the 80s and the 70s, whereas in the afternoon you only have the 50s. And that's how you read a stem leaf plot. The last one we'll take a look at is a histogram, and it's a way of grouping the date by intervals. So what you're going to have is, I'll do it on this graph actually, because I have space. On the left-hand side, you'll have the number of data values in each group. The number of data values in each group. Then on the bottom, on the x-axis, you're going to have the actual groups. So is a listening check. Color in revenue millions. Right, going back to my example. So the numbers on the left are the number in each group. So between 51 and 60, you have 2. In 61 70, you have 5, and so forth. So I have 12 there, I have 6 there, and so forth, right? So now you can answer the questions knowing that. How many students take the test? Well, all right, in this section, I have 2. In this section, I have ones at 5. In this one, I have 8. That one, I have 12. And in this one, I have 6. So how many students took the test? Add all of these numbers up, you get 33. How many students scored at least a 71? So here's a 71 and above, right? Add all those numbers, that's how many total, 26. Can you determine the highest grade? No, because I just know it's between 91 and 100, but I don't know exactly what that grade is. Could have been 100, could have been 90. All right, looking at another example. So first they fill in what those boxes, how many are in those boxes. That one's 2, and that one's 2, and that one's 2. All right, how many movies grossed at least 41? So find 41, then add up all those numbers. So that's how many got at least 41. So that's going to be 12. How many movies between 61 and 180? So find 61 and then 180 is right there. So all of those numbers, add those up. It's going to be 19. Can you determine how many movies gross between 121 and 1? So if I go to where 121 is, that interval starts at 101. So I don't know exactly how many were between 101 and 121. So I can't tell how many gross 121 and 140 because my interval is bigger than that. But that's pretty much how you read all these 3 different ways of reading it. Let's practice.
Let's get it like